here.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Jedi who obviously buys his cloaks at Marshall's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Star Wars Black Series, second part of this wave, which is Old Man Jedi Luke, Last Jedi Rey, and Admiral Thrawn from Rebels. Grand Admiral Thrawn, pardon me, as I was. Once again, shout out to Crashbox Customs for hooking me up with this. All bought and paid for, of course. I don't mean hooking up in that sense. I know how you guys get on the internet. But I'm really excited about some of these, and some of this is laughable, but I don't know, man. This wave is just not the best. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to go through it. It doesn't mean that we're not going to talk about the good stuff. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. So we'll start off with Thrawn. I'm very happy to get this figure. I'm a huge fan of the expanded universe. I know people are kind of divided on that, but I'm a big fan. I always enjoyed it. It doesn't mean that I don't recognize that there was some bad stuff in there. I certainly do, but I think it was at least interesting and new, and a lot of new takes on stuff. And I think that all of us, regardless of whether or not we enjoyed the expanded universe, definitely enjoyed this character. So I was very excited to get him. And that being said, he comes with one accessory that he holds just fine. Good thing he holds it just fine because you have two options to hold it in. We've already been down that road before this week. And then you have a silver weapon, which looks fine enough. And it also goes in his holster here, which is where he'll be for my display purposes. The head sculpt is fantastic. Now, they went with the pupilled eyes, which is not my favorite look for Thrawn. But I know it's from Rebels, so I get it. And I think it looks good regardless. The eyebrows are sharp. Everything is painted really well and sculpted extremely well. The head articulation is on a ball hinge, but you don't get really any of the hinge. A little bit up, not really anything down in the swivel. The down that you get is mostly from the ball peg and not the hinge. But it is painted well and it is sculpted well, and you get the swivel, of course. So then you have the tunic, which you have silver paint up here on the collar. Then you have his stripes that are painted fairly well, including the yellow. Then you have silver and blue little accent pieces there. And you have a ball peg going from the pelvis into the torso there. So you get a little bit from side to side. You get the swivel, and you get a little bit of a crunch and a little bit of a lean back, and it all looks pretty good. And we have these gold armor plates up on his shoulders. All good. We have the swivel at the elbow, at the shoulder, and then you have disc hinges that get you out to 90 degrees. No bicep swivel per usual, but you do get a great elbow that's sculpted fairly well and goes past 90 degrees. Nice sculpt work in the suit, you know, with the seam down the middle and all the wrinkles, like looks really good. Wrist swivel and hinge in out for both sides. So all that's done really well. Great sculpt work here in the tunic as well. You know, for the wrinkles and stuff. It looks really good. Then we have this soft plastic piece here that's glued on. We have the belt that's painted on and the buckle that's painted on. And then we have T-jointed ball joints that get you out to here and then forward and back to there. So great range there. Thigh swivel, great sculpt work in the pants. It has like that, you know, that look. I don't know what the name of that is, where the pants like puff out on the side. It's very Admiral Thrawnish. And then you have a double jointed knee, which isn't the prettiest, but does work. Now, this is one of the issues I have with this figure, and I'm not sure if it's mine or what, but like because of the sculpt of the pants here on the inner part of the calf piece, it doesn't allow you to move the knee all the way down, so you always see part of the knee joint, and it actually makes it difficult to stand him and make it look natural. See how he's kind of bowed out? Now, what could have happened here is that these pieces could have been the wrong pieces and could have been put on backward. I'll have to look and see if this strap is supposed to be on the inside or on the outside. But it, you know, you see the bow, like it looks like it should be opposite. So I'm not sure if mine is misassembled. It looks like it is. It looks like it is. I'll have to look at some pictures. If it is, we'll do that instead of a skit. I was going to do something else, but we'll see. And then we have these ankles, or ankle joints. So you get all the way down to there, all the way up to there. The blacks don't match, so that's a bit of a bummer also. And then ankle rockers. And there's the back of the figure. I'm pretty sure that's backward. I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to see what I can do about that. Other than that, he's extremely well done. What is going on? But yeah, pretty good. So anyway, that was definitely the issue. Now it sits much more flush and looks far more natural. So be advised, the buckle should be on the inside. And my pin is all ate up now because I was impatient, but yeah. Wish I could have shown you a better instructional video, but we had to go to kind of phase 2 on this fella. And then we have Rey. She comes with tons of accessories, including her signature kind of staff. It's cast in this silver plastic. The brown is painted on, a little sloppy. Actually, maybe it's a brown plastic. Yeah, it's a brown plastic. The silver's painted on. That's why the silver looks so good. A little sloppy here, once again, where it meets, and then the wraps here are painted black and white, which is different than it was before, right? So I wonder if that's how it is in the movie. And then she also gets, this can obviously, she can hold it, and it can go, you know, around her and kind of be slung across her chest, so to speak. And then we have her gun, the Solo gave her. She's still carrying it. That makes me happy for some reason. So she's got the silver paint on there, and she can hold it, and it can go in her holster with no problem. And then she has a lightsaber with a very blue blade. Maybe too blue? I'm not sure. Silver paint down here, black I think is what it's cast in, and in gold and red details, so that's fine. And then the face. Once again, a bummer that we didn't get the, you know, the more modern digital paint, but oh well. The hair is all sculpted well and painted well. And the eye, I mean, it's painted clean. It's a nice sculpt. It's just a bummer. So we got a ball peg to a hinge. I would have really liked to see the face paint done, how they've been doing the Marvel Netflix stuff, for those that didn't watch Tuesday's video. So we have a ball hinge, get you down to there, up to there. You get the swivel, and that's about it. It's fine. It's not the greatest, but it's fine. For the tunic, we have all this stuff which is sculpted beautifully and painted fairly well. It's all in this darker plastic, and then the skin tone is painted on, and then the gray bands are painted on, or wraps. And then it matches the skin tones fairly well. The arms are on disc hinges. They get you out to there and around, so no problems. No bicep swivel, and they had a place to do it, so that's just a cost thing. Single hinged elbow with the swivel there, and it looks like, no, I thought the wraps were shaded, but they're not. A lot of shortcuts here. Wrist swivel, hinge up, down. Same for the other side, except you have the brown paint added. So then you have this floating piece, which is glued on, I feel like. Maybe not, it feels like it is. And you have tons of paint. It's cast in this gray, and then you have this darker brown that's painted on. The lighter brown is painted on, but not painted the best, and then a darker gray inside, and then the holster obviously is painted. You have the ball peg going from the pelvis into the diaphragm with a great range. They really nailed that waist articulation on this wave, I will say that. T-jointed ball joints for hips that get you out to there, front and back to there. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee, if it'll go with this gummy plastic. Yeah. So that's pretty good. And then you have the boots, which are painted, and then you have ankle tilt up, which is great range, all the way down, and a rocker. There's nice sculpt work here in the back of the boots as well. It's you know, this is a solid figure. It's just the head sculpt that the head sculpt might be a little bit off. I can't tell. I think it is a little bit off, and then the paint doesn't help it. It doesn't do it any favors. I'm sorry, I didn't even have that in the lens, but you can see it's like in the ballpark, but it's not quite there, and the paint definitely isn't helping. So decent enough. I don't necessarily recommend her, and I think that they'll probably end up doing the digital paint. Like, we heard that they're going to do the digital paint with Black Series. I was just hoping to get it with this wave, but my guess is it's coming in later waves, and then we might see re-releases of some of this stuff, so just keep that in mind. And then we have Luke, which is probably the biggest disappointment of the entire wave. For me, anyway. We didn't get one with Force Awakens, and this is the one that we got, and this cloak is horrendous. Horrendous. It's impossible to get it to sit anywhere near natural. I'm going to try to soak it wet and then get it to stay like this, and I'll have his hood back because I don't think there's any saving that. Just, you know, drench it in water and then have it stay like this. So, yeah, terrible. Okay, now let's talk about the figure a bit as I bring the house down. So the head is on a ball hinge, down to there, up to there, and swivel. Not the best range-wise. I'm not sure about this sculpt either. I feel like this sculpt is off. The paint is fine. It doesn't really look like Mark Hamill. The paint on it is okay, but once again, I would have liked the digital paint application. It would have looked much better. So yeah, not the best. Arms, we have disc hinges that get you out to there, so that works fine, and the swivel all the way around, so no issues there. No bicep swivel, but you do get the single hinged elbow, and you get the elbow swivel, so that works as well. You got the metallic hand, which is a black, maybe it's a metallic silver, I can't really tell. You get the wrist swivel and hinge in out. You get a hinge in out here as well. Great sculpt work in the wrinkles in the clothes and stuff. They have been knocking that out of the park with this wave. Like the sculpt work has been great in terms of like the textures of the cloth material or the clothing materials. We have the torso here, nice sculpt work once again, and then we have this little bit accent here that's painted and does the trick. And then we have the same ball joint for the torso, and it works really well, which is something else we've been seeing with this wave. We have a soft plastic floating piece here that is glued in, I believe, and then the brown is painted on, and then this darker gray is painted on, which works fine enough. T-jointed ball joints for hips that get you out to there. Front and back is going to be really hindered by this softer plastic. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee, which gets you the full range. I don't know if you'll be able to use it because of the robes. This should have been soft goods. I feel like this stuff here, you know, just to not get in the way. And then we have the wraps, which are all sculpted well. All the wrinkles in the pants are sculpted well. And then you have the ankles, which gets you a tilt up, a tilt down, and a rocker. So articulation-wise, the engineering is there. I think that this is going to get in the way of most dynamic stuff you try to do. I was a little bit bummed that accessory-wise it didn't come with the lightsaber, but we do get something to put a lightsaber on, so hopefully that's a sign of something. I have a feeling that that's going to be the big money shot of this movie is when he pulls and ignites a lightsaber. Outside of that, though, it's okay. There is some dry washing in the hair, dry brushing in the hair and in the beard, so that's a nice attempt at something. It just doesn't look like him, and this is terrible. Final thoughts wise, as a heads up, I did wet down his cloak. We'll see how that dries. It looks a lot better already. Hopefully it'll do the trick. And final thoughts wise, the only one I really recommended out of this is Thrawn. I think that we'll probably get a better Luke and Rey at some point. The face paint is just not there, and the sculpt for the face is not there. Not for these two. I think they did a much better job with Kylo's face sculpt. But other than that, I mean, you guys know if you're going to pick this up or not before watching this review, I'd imagine. If you want to know what the good is that Rey's articulation works really well, and the look is really pulled off. She does look very different from the other one, like the original Force Awakens Rey. So there is like at least some, because you know I was a little concerned, like, man, like there's not much change here in some of these characters, but there is definitely a different vibe about this Rey. So that's a nice thing. She gets plenty of accessories, so that's a good thing. Thrawn is great as long as his legs are put together well. I shot the final thoughts before I tried to fix it, so we'll get there in a minute. Or you've already seen it by now, I suppose. And Luke is kind of okay. It's that the head sculpt isn't great and the cloak really sucks. Hopefully this wet down trick will work, but more on that later. So yeah, the only one I really recommend with any confidence is Thrawn. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.